Okay, awesome. Well, how are you, Nia?
I'm doing well. I have my tea with me today.
Oh,
We have some lavender Earl Grey that I recently got, and it's really
ooh,
good.
yummy. I don't think a lot of people drink tea, actually. I think we're coffee addicted in America.
Yeah, both of my parents are addicted to coffee, so I try to like stray away from that because I know if I start down that line, like it'll be hard to recover.
Yes, yes. Before we start the artist talk, I would like to formally introduce Nia to the audience. And also later we'll talk about how we met, and then we go straight into talking about the show and the artworks and everything about Nia's practice and life. So Nia
Okay.
Danielle Lovemore Rutledge is an Oklahoma-born artist and youngest child of Faye and Mark Rutledge. Rutledge is an interdisciplinary artist currently practicing in Kansas City, Missouri. Rutledge has received 6 years of training in graphic design and writing. She's also currently has a musical performance pieces under the names of Kinky Spooky, No Information Available, and Arcade Kitty, all incorporating poetry, rap, experimental film, and animation. Rutledge has coded a video game under the title of Honey Gold and has various other RPGs under construction. She currently had a two-person show with artist Fuko Ito called The Resilient Core of a Softened Shield at the Parachute Factory in Lexington, Kentucky. Her works exist in the realm of Afrosurrealism. She explores themes of unrequited love, escapism, and the effects of emotional pain on the body, the cycles of trauma, the adoration of the divine feminine, eroticism, and the destruction of our natural environments. So that's Nia.
I'm
Hello,
so
welcome again.
sorry.
so now, so now we have properly introduced Nia. I would like to talk about how we met. I think that's always the interesting part. Um, we met online. I've been thinking with a lot of artists here nowadays. We meet online. It
Yes.
wasn't for romantic romantic things. It was just more
Well,
like,
artistic romance,
yes,
love it.
artistic romance. Um,
Yes.
I actually found Nia through another fellow and talented artist, Fuko Ito. I commissioned Fuko for work, and then I saw that Fuko commissioned you for work,
Yes.
and then Fuko kind of posted your work on her story on Instagram. I'm like, wow, who's this? I'm like, who's this
Yes.
amazingness on Instagram that I did not know about? And I look at your work like, wow, this is so beautiful and gorgeous, and I just love your, let's say, unapologetic portrayal of, being a black woman, and also just simply how people from all backgrounds are able to connect with your work. So that's how we met, and the rest is history.
Yes, thank you, Naran. Yeah, that was really special to me because I had briefly met Fuko and Eugene in the drawing club in my local community, and then Fuko got her teaching job at the University of Kentucky, and so they left pretty soon after I met them, and so she reached out to me, and I felt so. It made me feel really happy because I was like, oh man, I just got to meet these really talented people. Now they're far away, and so I was like, okay. But yeah, it was really special for me to be able to forge a relationship and a friendship with them from a distance, and yeah, and then through that meeting you, that's also a special connection that I have with someone who I am not necessarily in person with. And I just feel like I'm starting to learn that the art community is very small. It's a lot smaller than you think it is. The world is a lot smaller than it is. And so, yes, thank you. I appreciate you reaching out to me because that was also very to feel
Of
seen.
course, of course. I think we can kind of talk about, is this the overall impressions of the work and people how might see it. I think
Okay.
when people view your works, there's this woman and protagonist, and
Yeah.
sometimes the works are very erotic and
Yeah.
sometimes very violent, and but that's why
Yes.
like I was just so drawn to, because I don't think I saw a lot of black female artists that was just so open about about like their sexuality and have these portrayals. So how you what do you think about you and your works in that kind of realm?
Well, for me, it's quite difficult because I realize that whenever I see like a nude body or a woman who's scantily clad in a way, I don't really necessarily see it as being erotic. Usually, like I'll draw something, and then once I show someone else, then I'll be like, oh wait, there's like titties and ass in this, and then the person's reaction. But to me, I guess um, I feel like showing like the nude body, you know, showing the figure to me is the best way for me to express a sense of vulnerability. And I feel as if you are capable of being vulnerable, you know, like being without armor or, you know, showing your body, but then also be able to navigate, I guess, this treacherous terrain that I usually place my figures within. To me, I feel like that shows a sense of like strength. You know, this
Mm-hmm.
shows a goddess strength in a way to me. But yeah, I realized too, also living in the Midwest, you know, there's certain people that I just can't show my art to because
Yeah.
I'm starting to realize it's a lot more explicit than what I think it is. Like to um like even in high school I would get in trouble for drawing and painting like nude figures and stuff, and like people would be like, this is sexual, and then I'd get into like arguments with teachers about it. That was like the only time that I got in school too, which is really funny. But yeah, I feel like it's always been sort of a natural inclination. I can't really imagine uh really drawing figures that have clothes on them. I'm trying it just fucking, I guess that's just the modality my brain kind of starts
Mm-hmm.
in.
I kind of understand because like I don't like putting clothes on my even my own works. I feel like because they're not natural, they're just something to cover us up. So I feel like it's just weird to have put your clothes on your figures.
Yeah, and like you then once you start doing clothing, you start getting into like okay nuances of like fashion, and then because you know people tell so much about you about how you dress, and so then you have to think about so many you know subcultures of you know uh, I guess how this person is dressing themselves, what area they live in, and stuff. And so I feel like just the bare minimals just kind of give a timeless nature, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I'm interested in.
So yeah, let's just kind of do a drive through by the works and in your exhibit. So let's have a close ups and kind of see the works behind you.
Okay, definitely. Let me have a look. See. So we can start with this one. And then I wish I could see myself so I could just maybe pull my phone over here. But I guess I'll wait. Can you see this one?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess this one is particularly, I just wanted to draw like a demon girl for this one. And because it's Halloween time. And
Let me flip my camera so you can see this one.
okay, thanks. Yeah. So that is the first one that I have. Um, but would you mind cycling through the pieces? Because I can't see myself for some reason.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry about that.
Let me see. Let me do this one. I'll go with this one.
Okay. Yes, and so this is the first one, and this one was graciously commissioned by Narong as well. And so I was this particular piece speaks on, I guess, feeling like I am. I often obsess about love. I often obsess about romance. It's something that I've done for a long time. And this piece speaks to that um, feeling like you are bounded by love, bounded by lust. And I often find myself in a place where I experience a lot of unrequited love. Like I often have feelings for someone and they aren't necessarily reciprocated, but um, recently I've been really falling in love with uh, the idea of unrequited love. You know, you can be in love with yourself, you know, deriving love from someone else or from certain experiences isn't um, the only way that you can live your life. And so this piece kind of speaks to that. And I guess allowing myself to be vulnerable enough to um, experience unrequited love and to feel okay with unrequited love, because for such a long time I really like beat myself up and beat myself down for I guess not feeling like someone saw something in me that I wanted them to see. um, and so this piece kind of speaks to changing that mindset, you know, not deriving my sense of self-worth from someone else and how someone else sees me.
Mm-hmm. Um, this one is kind of have this figure here and this kind of like volcanic like environment. Also, kind of like this little demon thing with her little foot, her little
Yeah,
foot in his mouth.
gotta have a little foot. This one is called The Adoration of the Incubus Within the Ever Burning Oasis of Hell. And this piece, I quite enjoy this piece. I want to make some more pieces in this environment with these two characters. Um, but I suppose this piece kind of speaks to, um, I guess, experiences that I've had with, um, this is going to sound really silly, but it kind of speaks to experiences that I've had with the men and them having, I guess, maybe like a really dirty room or like a place where I really didn't feel comfortable or didn't feel safe, and didn't feel like I was well placed in this home. You know, there's been oftentimes where I've had, I've been in situations that weren't necessarily like safe, or I didn't feel like I had like I just didn't feel right in that environment. I felt very outside of myself within that environment. Um, and so this kind of speaks to, you know, being seduced by an incubus, like in this intimate setting, and feeling as if I'm not necessarily where I'm supposed to be. It's kind of like one of those, like, how did I get here sort of feelings, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what that piece speaks
I
to.
guess it's kind of because like the figure's like putting her feet like further away. Like it's you're not really allowing it to be fully seduce your like your core. But you kind of like I'm just gonna see what it's gonna do to me.
Yes, exactly. It's just, you know, just let's just see where this goes, you know, not allowing them to get too close. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you got distance at some time.
So you kind of have this one with the spider. This figure with becomes a spider.
Yes, this is another one that I wanted to uh, create just for the Halloween season. And so I think I went on a walk and I saw this spider, and she was like, you know, taking a bug into her web. And so I really want to draw this spider woman. This also makes me think of like carnival sideshows, where it's like the snake lady or you know, the spider lady, things like that that I think are kind of really funny and really kooky. But I kind of want to do my own rendition of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is actually a piece that I want to revisit in the near future, and hopefully add some additions to it that make it a little bit more unsavory.
I kind of think of like the Black Widow in this part, like this female spider that kind of beheads the male spider. So it's kind of like this little deadly trap, but it's a trap of love, I guess. That kind of thoughts come to my
Yes.
head when seeing this piece.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, you're not necessarily in the control the situation. You know, you're having to succumb to what this feminine is planning to do with you. So
Mm-hmm.
I really like ideas like that.
So this one we talked about and seen already.
Mhm.
So how about this one?
Yes, this um, is entitled the. Hold on. I have them pulled up because I don't want to get any of them wrong. But yeah, the Impaled by a Thousand Swords, a reflection of the dark night of the soul. And this piece I made on a whim in one evening because I received some really devastating news from my family that really hurt me and that really made me feel like I had been impaled by a thousand swords. And so I can't really speak about this one too intimately because I don't want to start crying because I'm crying.
It's okay. It's okay.
But yeah, this piece, I guess it just spoke to the emotional swords that you can feel whenever you hear something or whenever you realize something that you never questioned, that you never even um, acknowledged could be true or acknowledged could be real. And so, um, you know, these emotional wounds are something that I'm going to have to spend a lot of time repairing and being very mature about. Um, but nonetheless, in the moment, it really hurt. And the background is kind of more colorful because I guess to me, sometimes, often, there is like, I guess, a lot of light around me, a lot of good things happening, a lot of potential. And so this piece kind of reminds me to stay focused on what's going on around me. You know, don't succumb to this, I guess, pit that I have within myself. Don't succumb to these wounds and let them bleed out into my reality around me and let them tarnish what I'm trying to do or this image that I'm seeking out of my life. And so that's what this piece speaks on.
To kind of transition to more of this impaled bodies. A lot of that. I
Yes.
think this one is kind of hopeful in a way because you have this impaled figure with the sword, but you kind of have these like flowers and vines like softly caressing the body. Can you tell us like kind of more about this work?
Sure. Yeah. This one has a poem that goes with it, and it's actually what is the exhibition statement. So I'll read that as well. And it says, when I take the time to enter the forest of my mind, I find myself beginning to be more comforted with the way the wind whispers secrets to me. She shares how the cicadas are a symphony of energy. She told me that when raindrops fall, the clouds are sending me sullen kisses upon the top of my head. And she went on to tell me that when things appear to die, they are never truly dead. Delusionary as this may be, the tree outside my window does talk to me, sharing what it's seen over many years it's taken to grow its rings. I used to fear fire until I realized that she purely loves to dance and flicker in the warmth of romance. I used to live by the vanishing of hours until the wind told me that somewhere deep inside me there is a field of flowers. And so this piece is hopeful and in a way, and it is another piece about this emotional pain. You know, there's also something else that recently happened that really felt like it wrenched my heart, and um, and there's a potion bottle of love within this piece, and so it speaks to the pain of a romantic love, and ultimately, this piece helps me remember that um, even in times of like hardship, where you feel like there's a death of something or a death of something that may have happened, or maybe something turned out in a way that you didn't want it to or didn't expect it to, that um, there's still room for growth. There's still room for rebirth. Um, it depends on, to me, it's almost like an analogy, do you see the death of this figure first, or do you see the flowers first? And right now I'm trying to retrain my brain into seeing the flowers, because this is what is going to continue on. Like, this is what is going to continue to develop. This is what is going to continue to blossom. And so this piece is very helpful in this way of helping me to, I guess, to be okay with this hardship, with this death of feeling within myself, uh, and understand that there is purpose within it, and there is room for growth within it, and
Mm-hmm.
it can thrive and take a life of its own if I allow it to.
Yep. And I think this one also kind of transitions to where you might have that dark and light, the warrioresses that you maybe have been slain before, but kind of reborn, and with all these like eyes. But I think this was like, the thing is a bit more like angelic eyes. I think you kind of mentioned that in your title.
Yes, absolutely. And so this one is the eyes of your guardian angel are always upon you. And so this has been a sentiment that I've been regarding a lot recently, because of these hardships or things I've been going through. Everyone has been experiencing a very difficult time in their life right now. I feel like everyone is, taking L's in one way or another. And I guess, to me, what has been very grounding for me is to um, understand and feel as if I have angels with me, my guardians are with me, my ancestors are with me, and in a way of not feeling so alone and not feeling so, uh, I guess, at the whim of the current of the world.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me to feel, even if I'm not in control of my situation, I have this army with me. I have these people with me who have my best interests. I have, um, and this isn't even like necessarily mystical angels either. I see my family members as angels. I see my dad as an angel. I see my mother as an angel. And so um, this kind of just reminds me that I'm not so, alone in this
Mm-hmm.
plight, in this fight um, through life and survival.
Mm-hmm.
And so then maybe we can look at um, an
You want
eyes of
this one, or you?
the piece, and Eyes of Loneliest Star kind of goes in with this idea as well.
Which piece do you want to talk to? I'm sorry.
The one at the bottom left.
Oh, this one.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and so this piece also has a poem to it, and the poem is uh, the descend into deep indigo was heavy on my skin, all knowing, fueled by the memoirs of the disillusioned. I recalled that I was the loneliest rose, covered in, covered in thorns and yearning for death, living off of rotted roots and stale breath. And I was the loneliest sword, rusted, forgotten to be polished or adorned, haunted by my recollections, living within reflections, craving affection. And I was the loneliest star, burning, slicing into a deep scar, revealing a black hole. Twinkling, it was here that I felt fire within me, burning and all feeling into coal, like lightning, volatile. And so this piece, yeah, it speaks to a deep loneliness. You know, I feel like some of the times where I feel the most lonely is in, you know, the dead of night whenever I can't sleep. Um, and it's, you know, gotten to be 4 a.m. and, you know, the birds are starting to chirp, you know, those are the times where I will feel like the most lonely. Um, and so to me, I'm sure a lot of us, I often regard stars because they make me feel like I have company. You know, stars make me feel seen because I feel like, I guess in my head, I'm like, if I can see them, then they can see me in a certain
Mhm.
way. So um, I guess, um, but to me, to be a star, you know, from our perspective, they all look so close together. But, you know, in reality, they're millions of light years away from one another. And so I guess if I were to imagine being a star, I could imagine it being quite lonely, you know, just ever burning in within darkness, being the only piece of light in the sky. And so um, I guess the idea of being a star, although they're so beautiful from us from afar, I feel like I can imagine um, it being quite sad to be a
Mhm.
star, or at least feeling quite lonely in a way.
Yeah, this one I like the, I guess, you have a recurring theme of these warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of reminds me a little bit of Card Captor Sakura, because like you have these feminine warriors, but sometimes I guess they're like try to hide their powers, or they don't want to be, they're kind of like they want to show their true self, so they kind of exist in this almost starry, galactic, beautiful, like dark space. So I think your work's always gonna have that sense of hope, like regardless
Yeah,
of, I guess, the destruction or the solitude, the anger, all these kind of like negative feelings and environments, but you're always gonna have these like glimmers of hope, of beauty, especially with this, like you have the vines and the florals. You have, I don't know, I just love the heels.
thank yes, magical girls. I want to draw more magical girls. There aren't enough magical girls in my.
Okay, which one would you like to talk next?
We can speak on the one. If you want to, we can speak on. Sorry,
Which one?
we
This
can
one?
just to
Or this?
the right of that, yeah, because
Oh, you want this
there.
one?
Yes, and so this piece is called "There's a Bottomless Pit at the End of the Rainbow," and there's a poem to this one, and it says, "I was chasing rainbows. I was seeking the purity of sunlight, looking to grow as a willow, reaching until my branches grace a pond. I was dancing with daisies and singing with the birds, seeking life's treasures, ignoring hurtful words. I was baking pies and painting butterflies, hoping someday I would earn my wings. I threw coins into the well and made wishes that plummeted into hell. I wrote love letters that fell on death's ears. I journeyed alone and I cried many tears. I dreamt of kaleidoscope kisses and smelled many amaryllis. Eventually, I grew tired and cold, found myself in the desert, echoing amongst the fading calls of crows. There is a pit at the end of the rainbow, spreading wailing woes, making promises of sullenhood. so this piece is about a journey, you know, about a romance. Again, like I said, I feel like I'm constantly chasing this um, idealized vision of romance and love that I have in my head, that I've obsessed over for a long time. You know, the type of sappy, stuffy movies. Um, and I feel like I chase this rainbow of idea. You know, I do all these things, all these gestures of love, to try to express this, but usually it ends in a bottomless pit, you know, meaning uh, I guess it ends in darkness, or the disappearance of this love, of this romance, of this relationship. Um, and so uh, oftentimes it makes me feel very labored in the journey to get there, you know, that I did all these things, and sometimes it can feel like they meant nothing. Uh, but um, ultimately, I think the importance is that you continue to walk, you know, that you continue to journey, that you don't let this stray you away from what you're seeking. You know, it's very important to me that despite the heartbreak that I may go through, that I don't become callous with my heart, that I don't allow people to make me say things like fuck love. You know, a lot of people say that. A lot of people say, you know, like, I don't fuck with love no more. I feel like that's relatable, and I definitely know where people are coming from with that sentiment, because I definitely felt that way. But I guess such a large part of me is about love and always has been, and such a large part of me uh, is within romance in my being. You know, that's just naturally the type of person that I am. So if I were to allow someone to take that away from me, to break my heart, and to I guess, really change the fabric of my being like that, I would lose myself. And so it's important for me to um, learn the lessons that I learned, to and to do better next time, treat myself better next time, to seek better next time, to seek, um, I guess, more golden treasures in a way. Um, and so this piece, I guess, speaks to the laborious nature of going through this process of falling in love and falling out of love.
Mm-hmm. So you got two more left. So you got the LSD fairies. You kind of have this Synth dragon.
Yeah, let's look at the dragon. And so this piece is called, make sure I get the title right. It's called Come With Me Along, My Journey to the Zenith of Ecstasy. And this piece is pretty straightforward. I really just wanted to draw a badass dragon, honestly. And I wanted to draw a girl with this dragon. And these are characters who I really want to um, develop more of a narrative with, more of a story with. Um, but I guess like one of like the most fantastical things that could happen to me would be, you know, a beautiful woman descending upon a dragon, asking me to come with her along this journey. You know, like, I guess you know, there's like fantasy stories that that sort of happens to someone, or, you know, main character gets whisked away on this journey into this mystical landscape that they never even imagined existed before. And so I guess that's kind of something that I enjoy daydreaming about. That's really silly, but I just feel like it would be so cool, you know, to ride off into the sunset with this sexy swordstress on this dragon, you know. I mean, does it get more badass than that, honestly? What can I say?
It's like it's one of your superpowers that you would like is to fly.
What? Oh,
If
to
you
fly?
if you have superpower, is it like one of them to fly?
Huh. I I would like to fly, honestly. That would be really cool. If I had some wings, that would be really cool, honestly. Um, but if I really, I've always thought about this. If I were to have like a superpower or something, I would really want to be like a shapeshifter of some
Hmm.
sort. You know, like I would want to be like changing forms. Because in my head, I'm like, okay, if I was a shapeshifter, of course I would be able to shapeshift into like an angel or a fairy naturally. So I just, you know, you always come up with little ways to freaking to cheat the system. But um, yeah,
I
there's a lot of powers that I would actually want, honestly. I would love like a lot of magical powers.
I can see how you want to be a shapeshifter. Considering I think these figures, they're they're one and the same, but you simply they simply mold into different narratives. They have these different outfits, different looks, and they kind of blend their environment. So that's kind of like I asked like what superpowers you would have. So I see a lot of wings to represent the freedom, the flight, to escape whatever environment they were not happy with. Also the ability to maybe live a different life with the shape shifting.
That's
That's
incredibly profound, honestly. You're right with that. I'm gonna have to think about that some more. I do relate to that sentiment. Is there a superpower that you would want? Is there a superpower that you would want?
I'm sorry.
Is there a power that you would want?
I would say flight.
Mm.
I would say flight because I used to be um I used to want invisibility, but that's when because like I think I I was kind of very shy in high school
Oh,
and very like
yeah.
withdrawn. So I wanted invisibility just to like blend in and hide into the surroundings. But now since I kind of like I think I grew out of it of that shyness. I think I want flight. That's why I kind of relate a lot to these winged creatures, winged figures that you have a lot that are recurring in your works.
Yes, yes, I completely relate to that. And so I did have a poem for the very last piece, and so that one is the harmonious self-love of the LSD fairy, and uh, I see us amongst tantalizing tulips, all but silent and accompanied by a warm breeze, accepting that all of this is temporary, focused on embracing at the knees. And then the clouds come to us unconditionally, of pink and orange hues, some yellow, orchestrating a salacious symphony, the grasshoppers playing their cellos. Time traveling, we find ourselves amongst the dew of the early morning dawn, patiently watching as clouds converse and continue to cascade on. We slip away to the beat of the hummingbird's wings, disintegrating into each other's arms, ripening like a berry, growing in unfathomable abundance, like the blades of grass of the prairie. And so this piece is about a couple different things. It, um, well, first of all, it internally it is about self-love and developing a love for yourself, um, and um, it is about the usage of psychedelics to do this, and there are a lot of medicinal properties in LSD, or particularly psilocybin mushrooms. And so this piece kind of speaks to using plant medicine as a way of coping, and a way of, I guess, understanding yourself on a deeper level, being able to love yourself at a deeper level and address certain uh, elements of yourself that you wouldn't necessarily be able to access otherwise, which is something that's really helpful for me in particular. Um, and so it speaks to, I guess, using plant medicine to learn different elements and different sides of yourself, and then learning how to be in love with every aspect of yourself, um, and falling in love with yourself. Because I feel like um, a lot of people aren't in love with yourself, or there's like a negative connotation with being in love with yourself, like being conceited, you know, and I think that, you know, that sort of sentiment has its place and whatnot, but I think that a lot of people, and I think that society often gives us so much information overload that leads us to not love ourselves or to have love for ourselves. And so this is something that I'm in the process of developing within myself, gaining like a deeper sense of love within myself. But then this piece also is about, I guess, like, um, to me, another really romantic fantasy that I have is, I guess, just um, doing psychedelics and laying in a field with my lover and just like enjoying each other's presence, you know, not necessarily, you know, talking or like doing anything, but purely just being and understanding that time around us is fleeting, you know, this life is fleeting, these plants around us are fleeting, the effects of these drugs are fleeting, you know, I guess just being learning to be more present in the moment, present within your body, present in the company of other people. And so, yeah, this is a piece that's just another kind of thing, I guess, that I fantasize about, that I daydream about.
Yeah, that one's really one of my favorite pieces in the show. I mean, considering it's very colorful. It's kind of like
Yeah.
talks about. It's almost like you have kind of like holding yourself very close to these two equal figures, kind of floating up in this field. But you know that the field of the self love comes from, I guess, you have to use something to help you to reach that transcendence. It wasn't natural. It wasn't something that you can come up from yourself, but you're gonna have to, no matter what, you still at least find a way to reach that, even though it's like it's not completely a true like revelation.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I thought it was kind of like one of those pieces where it looks amazing and great and with the first look, but there's some things that it's not really quite right with it. But I think that's kind of gives it that layers of thought, you know, and feelings.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. And so, yeah, I really believe in, I guess, using plant medicine as
Mm-hmm.
in a medicinal way to help yourself, because I feel like a lot of people. I also think that psilocybin mushrooms get a really bad rap from certain people, but they're a lot safer than prescription drugs that you may be prescribed, at least in the way that, in my experiences. And I guess to me, my sentiment is, okay, if I have to do psychedelics twice a year to feel okay, then I will do that. I feel like that, to me, that's a way more logical standpoint to come from. Um, and so this is something that I want to explore more in my art, I guess. And um, yeah, this development of self love, because I personally realize that there were a lot of things that come up that I don't um, realize that I'm still being affected by, you know, that my feelings are still hurt by. And so it really helps me with reconnecting with certain feelings and
Mm-hmm.
certain thoughts that I may dismiss in my day-to-day life that may just be difficult for me to access. Um, and so, yeah, a lot of really beautiful things have come about because of this. And so,
I think
Yes.
I think it's important, like how you work. I think it's kind of like looking at your diary. I think it's I don't think it's how some people who might not understand what it's like to make art that revisits past or current trauma or things that hurt us, to kind of like they think that we're simply just going back to feel hurt again. But I think we might, yes, we might get hurt making these art about those things, but I think it kind of objectify it a bit and gives
Mm-hmm.
us clarity. So I think
Very
there's
much
some
so.
kind of misconceptions with people, like why do you want to, I guess, go back and feel that pain again? Because I think at that time when we feel those things, we don't get that same kind of clarity. We're just going through the motions.
Yeah, I guess for me particularly, often something I think about is that I do make a lot of artwork that are traumatic memories, but to be able to um, reform them and change them and add pretty colors and add flowers and um, to me it changes what this memory is in my head. You know, it
Mhm.
gives me more autonomy over this memory that may be haunting me because you know, just because you know you make art about something doesn't mean that it's going to, I guess, haunt you more or less. To me, you know, like there's people who don't make art about how they feel about something but they still think about that thing every single day, you know. And you know, maybe for me, I make art about something and it really helps me to relinquish those emotions. It helps me to
Mhm.
redirect those emotions into something else. um, and to change how they appear in my head because now it helps personally to cope with a lot of things that happen a lot better because it's like, all right, you know, this terrible thing happened and, you know, it's going to hurt me. But also, I can produce this beautiful piece of artwork to look at if I want to. That may make me feel better or help me to express my feelings because also to me, there's a lot of things that I can say with the words, pictures, and symbolism that I can't necessarily say with words. You know, there's feelings that I can evoke that I can't necessarily put into words. And so I guess that's why I really like poetry, and that's why I really like imagery and pairing the two together because because you know some people are more visual and some people are more based in words. So I feel like the two paired together really help to create a holistic image of this idea that you may be trying to convey.
Mhm. So since we're getting close to the end of our talk, I do have, I guess, a few remaining questions. Um, what is next for Nia? And that's gonna keep it as
Oh,
broad, as broad as general. I'm gonna keep it. What's next for Nia moving
oh my
forward?
God. There's a lot of things next. I don't know. It's really funny that you asked me that because this is something that I've been asking myself too. Um, but ultimately, I think Um, I want to make more video games. Really, I want to. I also recently got a lot of materials to paint and to
Mm-hmm.
make some oil paintings, and so I'm hoping that by next year or so, I can start making some more oil paintings. And I also really want to put more practice and attentiveness towards my musical practice. And so I'm hoping that I can also work on like doing some music and stuff. But yeah, I really hope to just um, keep expanding my skill set. And I also want to keep drawing and strengthening my drawing skill because, you know, there's a certain style that I have in my head that I'm seeking. And so it's just like you know, the repetitive nature of trying to get
Mm-hmm.
there. Um, and so, yeah, but I'm very hopeful for the future. I'm very hopeful for um, things that are on the horizon. So thank you for asking.
Of course, because I'm like, I see. I see a lot of people like reaching out to you and kind of like commissioning you for like it could be like an album cover or maybe just like I would see like pictures of people like having your artwork in their space in their rooms. I'm like, wow, and I just love that seeing people relate to you or some kind just have some kind of connection even though the work's just so personal. I think that's very admirable, and I think like you said, we talked before that it kind of meets their goals of having that connection, but also your goals of illustrating how you feel. So I would say bright things are on your future.
Thank you, Narong. That means the world to me for you to say that. That's really awesome.
Because like it just like I feel I like it a lot. I just like seeing people that not focused on the commercial aspects, but somehow the commercial aspects just come naturally to them, like organically, and people are drawn to that.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Narong. That really means a lot to me. It's really special to me too because I, in my head, I'm just like a random girl in the Midwest. Like I'm just like drawing in my room, and so it's special to me that people um, want to help me, that people want to make things with me, and that people, it really, really means a lot to me that people are taking me seriously because for such a long time I didn't even take myself seriously. It wasn't until COVID happened, and I feel like COVID has really been very transformative in our society. And within my life, losing 2 jobs that I had at the time, I told myself that I was going to commit just 8 hours a day to working on artwork. That I was just going to take myself seriously and just spend my days doing that because, there wasn't anything else that I could really do. And so that really changed my mind. And I always tell everybody, like, I feel like the government fucked up with putting me on stay at home orders. Now I don't want to work a regular job anymore. Like now I'm like, I don't have to work 40 hours a week to live. Like they're gonna be hard pressed getting me to go back to a regular job now. And so we'll see. I'm hoping that I'm hoping that this can continue and I can continue making stuff and really get my art to the point that I really want it to be, because I'm still in my head, I'm still developing a lot. Like I have you know I feel like as an artist, as you know, you always see like little things in your artwork that you want to be better, that you want to like develop more. And so there's a lot of things that I want to continue to develop. So I'm very helpful in teaching myself, learning new things from more people, being put in contact with beautiful people like yourself, that can really help me and help push me to doing better and developing more. And so thank you.
Of course, Nia. Thank you for all your hard work, your soul and your heart, your beauty, your intellect, your dedication to this exhibit and to your practice. I I know we will see more of your fabulousness in the future and your growing success. I would like to also thank you for taking the time to give us your heart out here on this talk. And if anyone would like to see more of Nia's work, they can see more on the music website or see on her website, her Instagram. Give her
Yep.
give her give her a commission or something. Work because she's gonna do. We'll get to the point where it'd be hard to get to where we can actually acquire one of your pieces. I think I can sense it. Just buy it now when you can afford it.
Yes, I'm thinking on it, please. Thank you so much.
So Nia, we'll have a fabulous weekend, and we'll be in touch soon. Thank you so much again.
Yes, thank you, Naran. Please enjoy the rest of your day.
Have a rest day. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.